Alternative methods of mobility are a big part of Hogs of War, primarily because the pigs have their big, fat, stumpy legs and are too slow to walk from one point to another. The speed of each pig is determined by their class. For instance, the heavy weapons class is slower than the espionage, with the commando, hero and legend being the fastest pigs in the single player campaign. But let's be honest, no one really enjoys walking, so enter the Jetpack. It's an item that allows our little piggies to get from point A to point B in a very short space of time, which is wonderful, unless you mistime your landing, overdo your shot and spend too much time parachuting back down, or just don't take into account the angle of the landscape in front of you. However, as it is with every element in the game, the Jetpack didn't always function this way. It has a history, one that seems to change a fair amount throughout its own development. For starters, back in the day, the Jetpack was referred to as the Rocket Pack. Unfortunately, I don't actually have any footage of the pack, as the early elements which involved particle effects were not actually functional, but the design document describes the item as the following. The player will be able to manipulate the direction, angle and velocity of the arc in the normal way before then propelling the pig at high speed across the map. The player must take wind into consideration when calculating the trajectory that they hope their pig will follow, and once triggered, the pig will soar up and across the map, coming to land unharmed providing that he doesn't land in mines, water or fire, and will be ready for combat at the start of the player's next turn. Any pig blown off the side of the map by the wind or a dodgy aim is destined never to return to battle, and reinforcements will be deployed if the player has any remaining. The Rocket Pack is a useful but risky way of rapidly transporting units across the battlefield. The animation description was also quite humorous, stating that the pigs take off in a huge cloud of fire and smoke, with the pig's arms flapping, arcing across the heavens, landing head first, pulling himself out of the soil, or maybe beating off the flames from his clothes before turning his attention back to the battlefield. So the idea of other elements affecting the player's performance, such as wind, was very much a thing. It was also the fact that the Rocket Pack would take up the rest of the player's turn, which is in similar fashion to the Special Ops, which is the main reason as to why I dislike it. We also learned that reinforcements were a thing, but I'll be discussing that particular topic in greater detail in another video. For now though, the overall purpose of the Jetpack has never really changed, with the primary focus being to transport the player over large distances. Moving forward with development then, and the Rocket Pack has actually transformed into the modern day Jetpack with some slight alterations, the major one being the fact that the model isn't actually there yet, it doesn't exist. I'm guessing it was being worked on, but it always is amusing to see a pig flying up into the air without any real animation. What the fuck? The key thing to note here though at this stage was that the distance the pig would travel when using the Jetpack wasn't actually that far. You still had the ability to set the trajectory of your short hop, but regardless you didn't really travel all that much. The other thing was that once the Jetpack had been detached, it would fall to the ground in front of the player rather than behind them. Into the modern age of Hogs of War then, and the Jetpack is fully operational. This item is given to all elite pigs, so commandos, heroes, aces and legends, and it can be found in multiple crates across the single player campaign. It is the fastest and most efficient means of travel on the battlefield because, as previously mentioned, the Special Ops just sucks. When you want to get from A to B without any hassle, the Jetpack is the item of choice. Not only that, but it can also be used as a weapon. The idea of jetpacking is to position yourself facing away from your target, launch yourself just high enough that you can release your parachute, then the jetpack will fall to the ground directly on top of the targeted pig, dealing a maximum of 20 damage. In fact, I was told by Jacob Habgood that the idea of using jetpacks as weapons was always an intentional game mechanic. Within the community, jetpacking is usually frowned upon as it's seen as a cheap way of dealing damage. Cheap, but very effective, in some cases turning the tide of a battle. Personally, I think jetpacking is a neat addition to this item as it allows the player to perform two actions at the same time, movement and damage. Overall, the Jetpack is the king of mobility. It offers complete freedom in regards to trajectory and is the best item in the game when you need to get somewhere fast. Got something to add to my thoughts though? Let me know everything you have to say in the comments. Do you enjoy using the Jetpack? Do you think it's a dirty tactic to jetpack against other players? Everything and anything, let's get discussion going as always. Oh, and a cheeky little side note, this is what the Jetpack currently looks like in the Hogs of War Reheated project. Pretty cool, and it looks awesome. But anyway, jetpacks, let me know everything you got to say in the comments. And in the meantime, I will catch you guys later for the next one.